Okay, cool. Okay, so the last week, what we have seen is context API, right? So context API is a way in which you share the state and the changes all together to the React component, right?
Yeah, start.
So cool. So along with we've seen few things like what why we need a context API because the prop drilling. Prop drilling is nothing but moving a property like a username or a theme related information to some deep level nesting components, child components to child components. We may need to pass the props. To avoid that problem, React is providing a API called context API out of the box. So by using that, you can create a n number of context and you can keep that and you can use it in your code so that that will become kind of a easy way of maintaining your state variables and all that, right? And also we've seen few things like a memo and pure component for the performance just to avoid the re-rendering and all that. So today's session, let's talk about something called the Redux. Before talk about the Redux, let's talk about one of the design pattern that is behind the scene for our Redux, right? So we all aware the pattern called observer pattern, right? So observer pattern is a pattern which just emits the event to all the observer, whatever registered that I want to listen, right? See, for example, we are writing a event listener, and we are the component listening to that event listener, right? So whenever that event occurs, it fires that event to all the component or whatever that listens to that, right? So
Yeah.
that is the basic idea about an observer pattern. So observer
Yes.
pattern is mainly used in your event handling. Most of your browsers and all that all uses observer pattern. So if you imagine observer pattern is like a subscription based, right? If you subscribe for an event, you'll get access to it. If you unsubscribe, you won't get it. You could say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is a subject. If you see here, right, that gets some event, so that notifies all the observer in a page. So I have observed one event, you just get it what I observed, so you keep passing to it. So now you could imagine a situation where to us in a React, right? So the question comes, imagine we know what is a context API, right? Whenever user logs in, logs out, right? So we write a context for a user authorization in a context. Whenever user logs in, we'll say logged in. Whenever user logs out, we'll say logged out, right?
Yeah.
Now, whatever the component listens to that, what we will be doing is we'll write a context API and we'll do the provider and consumer stuff and pass the authenticated value as a value. Then we use it, right? So let us see one thing how observer pattern is written in general JavaScript world, right?
Yeah.
So let's see this. There is a subject. That's what we seen in the screen also, right? There is a subject. There is a state. There is a list of observers. That is clients who are listening to that particular thing, right? So
Yeah.
whenever you are adding observer, the observer will be pushed into an array. As simple as that. Whenever you want to get a state, you can get a state. Whenever you want to set a state, you pass the value and set the new value to state. So whenever the state has been changed, what happens based on the observers in an array, we'll keep pass the signals to that, right? Cool. So let's see, there is observer is another object that has another method called signal. So that listens to what is your state and console logs it, right? So now see, subject is a separate object and add is a method which we are passing observer object, which has a method called signal, right? So whenever you are creating a subject and the observers, whenever a state is getting changed, an observer will be pushed. So this is what we see is in a for loop. How many observer you write? For that many observer, the signal will be passed.
Right.
Right. So this is the observer pattern what we see, right?
Yeah.
So for Libin and Sijo, this observer pattern is clear in the sense we can move further.
Yeah,
Yeah, Shiju, Libin,
yeah. Yeah.
in the Udemy, we already have a course called Design Patterns.
Okay.
You just go through that. It has around 10 to 20 observers, different categorized into three: creational, behavioral, and structural. So if you go through them, you will understand better. So it's very important to know design patterns once you move up the level, right?
Okay.
So observe pattern is one of the patterns. So you can go through that course once.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like your event listener only, man. It's just that you write for subscription, right? Your notifications, right? whenever some event has happened, you are getting a notification, right? Just like that. That's the observer pattern you could think of.
Okay.
Like your email notification or your balance detected, account credited, all are observers. You are listening for that through SMS, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now come to the React world. So what we know React is all about components, states, and props. And we know what is a state. State is a small piece of information inside a component. Props is a property or argument passed to a component, right? And components are modular representation of UI. Yes, we are making every individual pieces into a component. So we are modularizing it and we are exporting with the default keyword. And state of information is a plain JavaScript object that lives inside a component. Yes, we know. When the information is passed to another component, it is called props within the component. Cool, right? Okay. And then now comes to the point, what is a store? So we see in a EXT world, there is a store that is for a particular grid or a particular tree grid or whatever. And so when we have some kind of a shared store in EXT also, so you can create a shared store and all that, right?
Yeah.
But that store and this store differs in a different way. Like, so that store is a different purpose. Will save all your data, right? For your usability, for your presentation, right? This won't be saving like that kind of a data. Eventually, it will save sometimes on Boolean also, like authenticated. Sometimes it saves some sort of array also. Sometimes it saves some sort of object also. Sometimes it save a lot of things, right? It's a mixture of everything. So if you see, a store is a place, a single place you could imagine, right? A store in a React, in a Redux, or in a Redux, a store is a single place because in Redux we'll create only single store. Okay. So in a single store, what we do,
Multiple stores, multiple
uh,
instances too.
that is not a practice. We should not do that. But I'll
Oh.
come to that one part. I'll tell you there is a architecture behind the scene. I mean the architecture which Redux is built on, right? I'll tell you that uses a multi-store concept. But whenever you are using a Redux, you use a single store. I'll tell you why. Imagine if you have a single place to debug, it is easy. Than you are keeping a multiple place, right? I mean, you maintain a single store. When you maintain a single store for everything with a different naming convention, right? It is easy for you to take the store and get the user info and get the access control and get the presentation and all that. Imagine how you can access it: store.user info, store.access control, store.presentation, store.section, store.comment. You have a store as a root. Inside the store, you have a individual pieces of the store information for a component based, or maybe something not about the component itself. Sometimes user info not about a component also, right? So that may
Right.
be used in a login, or sometimes it may be used in some page which you are not authorized to. Lot of things, right? This data mapping and all that may be not related to a component, but it's related to some sort of metadata we use. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
it is a practice. Okay, as a Redux practice and a rule also you could say, right? You should use a single store, but there is an architecture called Flex. Okay, that Facebook uses. So there is a Flex pattern that I'll tell you. Flex versus React Redux. Okay, there is a topic which I haven't read, but they mentioned it, right. You can use multiple stores.
Okay.
Flex.
So single and multiple stores. No concepts of store includes multiple stores. Includes single store. Okay.
So as per Redux, you can use a single store, but as per Flex, you can use a multiple store. But other than this multiple stores, I did not see much difference between Redux and Flex because they use the same pattern of writing and events and all that. So for a Redux, this is the idea behind the Redux development. Flux is the code. Okay. So
Okay.
and then now you see, we know what is observer pattern. Patterns is a pattern which notifies to a components or some pieces of observer whenever some changes happen to that, right? So imagine what React needs. Whenever there is a change in my state or the props, I want to re-render, right? That's what we need, right? So this pattern is highly compatible with what we need, right? So we have a profile section, we have a comment, some user commented it. So you want to add the comment to the UI instantly. That's what the Facebook does, right? Instantly it does. So you're updating a comment and you are instantly showing to the user there is a change. So if you see, it is exactly same as your notive observer pattern, and that fits your React requirement and all that, right? Okay. So there are conversations saying that React is completely different from Redux because React is not maintaining Redux. Redux is a third-party library, but Redux uses a Flex architecture that is introduced by Facebook. Facebook uses a Flex.
So who owns Redux?
Everyone wants a Redux other than the Facebook. If you take a 10 projects, all the 10 project uses a Redux only. Nobody uses a Flex. Flex, you could say the core concept behind the scene for your Redux, but nobody uses a Flex in the React development. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about the flow, right? If you see, you say you are withdraw some money, right? So you are doing some action. I mean, you are withdrawing something, right? So when
Yeah.
you withdraw that, your state is having you will say you have some sort of money in your account, right? Your credit balance or your balance. Whenever you withdraw some money and you are sending an even to a store that, so I had at 100 rupees. Now I took 10 rupees out of it. So I am dispatching some action to the store. Now store what will do is store will receive that action as a payload. So if you see it is an object, right? Action. You see here, right? The action is sent. What it is sent, it is saying I'm depositing. So I'm adding a 10 rupees with amount of 10 rupees, right? You see, right? Then the 10 rupees coming to some part called store. Store is having something called reducer. I'll talk about reducer now. And then the store will get updated with a new value and your UI will get updated. Is it clear
Okay.
first?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I hope the UI part is cleared and the dispatcher part is clear. Dispatcher part uses the object of representation with the what kind of transaction we are doing and what kind of data we are passing, right? You could imagine your amount is 10 rupees and you are going to add some 10 rupees. So you pass a payload as like this and you are passing some action with a type keyword and that will be taken into reducer, right? Now, while we know what is a reducer in array. So what is a reducer in array?
It's an accumulator, right?
It's accumulator. So what it does basically, it accumulates all the value, returns a single value. Am I right?
Right.
Cool. So then what we need, we have a store with a multiple value or a single value. At the end of the time, what we need a single value out of the store. So that will have all the information which a store which had initially and which store has been changed now. Am I right? So that is why it is called reducer. There is no particular reason this is called reducer. So these are some sort of acronym or understandable name that it always reduces your entire value into a single value. Okay. And there are few principles you have to use is you should not modify your store, like you should not mutate it. You understood what is mutated, right? Libin or Switcher.
You can't change, right?
You should not change. So either
Yeah.
you can merge on top of it. I mean, you can return a new object as a whole altogether. You should not change the old one. I'll tell you
Okay.
why. I'll tell you how at all. Okay. So now we have an idea. So now it fulfills our UI needs also, right? The React part is here. React has some button to deposit 100 rupees. And when you press the deposit click button you will be passing some click event saying that 100 rupees you deposit. Then you send the information to someone who is the global store. The global store will have a reducer. That is, let's say, account reducer. It's a function, right? And then that takes your input and that add your balance into your account, then updates your state and then UI re-renders. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there is one more flow chart. Let's see how you guys able to see this. So there is a person, okay? They have a lot of, you could see a UI component. They have some form or submit. What they are doing, they're invoking some action, right? Then that goes to reducer. Reducer goes and takes the input and merges your new state and update your state. Then that passes your new information to all the childs which are listening to that. Then it comes back, come back to the components. Again, another same explanation with a different flowchart, right? Cool. Okay. So I think this one we have to do by ourselves. So it's a small exercise. Okay. So all we have to do is let's go and create an empty folder. Okay. In your local. Okay. Just do npm init and type -y. So we will do together. So open your VS Code. Okay. I'll go to terminal. You guys also take your terminal. This is something good. We'll do this because this part we know we need to understand very carefully. Okay. So let me take you to the MySpace. Okay, this is my folder. So what I'll do is I'll create a folder mkdir, mkdir, and then I'll do one thing like Redux test, cd Redux test. Okay, then we call as npm init, and then we'll give y. I hope whether you remember, if you give y, automatically a packet.json will be created, or else it will ask you to enter all the details. Okay, I'll tell you what is in npm init. Npm init is creating empty project. Okay, if you give -y, it will create a project with your name and the version, the description, the main file, and some license information and all that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let us open code, VS Code. So let me open the VS Code. So let me know you guys have done that. Once I open the VS Code, I'll go to the VS Code terminal. Are we done till this?
No, I'm just opening my space. Just
So the command is npm init -y, no?
Yes, yes. You don't, even you don't have to give y. If you don't give, it will ask you all the name. What is the name of your project? What is the version number of your project? What is the file? And what is the script names and all that. So you don't want to go through all the stuff. You can, if you give npm init y, you automatically will be given this package.json.
Okay.
That's why. pm install npm my redux.
yeah, show me the comments. What is it?
npm npm space init space -y. For a node related application development, it is good to have a Mac or a Linux base.
I don't know, why is it stuck? It's stuck. Okay.
It's stuck for me. I think Windows.
Sorry, what happened?
It is stuck.
Command is yeah.
Okay, now it has come.
So where we are able to see this package.json code. So created a folder Redux test and opened CDs Redux test and npm init -y.
Wait, this one.
See, why we are too much conscious about Redux is when you are architecturing your Redux React application, right? Deciding your Redux is the key part.
I have created mine.
Yeah.
You created?
Yeah.
All are created?
Yeah.
Okay, all gone to the code with VS Code.
Yeah.
And can you open the terminal by using Control J?
Okay.
And type npm space I space Redux. So now we are installing a Redux package. That will take matter of seconds.
Yeah, done.
Once you see, your package.json will be updated with the dependencies. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, now let's go and create a file called any of your name, any name you like, Redux node test or whatever, or Redux node.js. I'll call it whatever you call it, is your choice. Okay, let's say Redux, or not that. There are too many complex installation require.
Bro, 1 second.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's created package.json
Okay.
under Redux folder.
Uh-huh.
I opened this one, Visual Studio Code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. After that, what I have to do?
You have to type this. Go to your terminal by using Control J.
Okay.
Then you have to type this, the highlighted one, npm space I space Redux.
Control J. What I have to type? npm I Redux.
Yeah.
I'll share this code for you guys to do something. All done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Okay. Okay. So what we do is we'll create one variable called const redux equal to require of redux. Like this. I'll keep passing. You maybe keep pasting in your file, okay? In your chart. So create a file with any name of your choice, okay? And type the following. Const initial state. Okay, so I'll pass it as a counter. I'll pass it as a 0. Okay, then I'll pass this. So, oh shit, what did I? Initial state, you pass it. The const reducer is equal to a function. That function should accept two input. One is a state. That is the initial state. Initial state, comma action. Okay. And then let's talk about if something. Let's say action equal to let's say increment. Okay. Then we'll say return call it as a state, comma counter. Okay, so we call it as counter, and then we call it as counter plus 1, right? Hey, just stop me whatever I'm writing. So this is a state and this is a reducer. There is a const increment. Okay, I call it as again a function. When I dispatch, that should return me okay. State dot action. Okay, that should return increment. Okay, then we call it as const store. Retex dot create store, and we'll pass it as the reducer. Okay, reducer. Then store that subscribe console log. Then we'll say store dot dispatch increment. Okay. Okay, then run regex node.js. What it says, there should be error. You may need action must be a plain object. That should be right. So you guys see one error it is showing in my terminal.
Yeah.
So it is saying action must be a plain object. Okay. Just only remember that. Okay. So then what we'll do is we'll say, now you will understand what is a type, right? You remember type I was showing in the one flow screen on screen I shown you, right? One picture I shown, right? If you remember this picture,
Action, yeah.
yeah, this one and I think event, then that dispatches an action with a type and payload, right? So we'll say payload, okay. Then we'll say type, okay. Then we'll say action dot payload because we are passing a payload, right? So now let us see what happens. Now let us run this. Now what it is saying? Okay, production action must be a plan of the institute type was actually okay. So action dot type equal to increment. Okay, so I have to call method, right? So that's what. What is this? Counter is not defined. Why? Or state dot counter. Okay, cool. Mm, let's say logger state. Console dot log of state. Logger. Define, very good. Logger is there. It is then calling the increment and then it is going to state. Return state. Increment is fine. Payload is fine. Store is fine. One second. Let me have done techno.js. Okay, these all fine. Okay, store.get state. Sorry. Yeah. So that's what I did. We'll do call by function, not this logger itself. Will do the store.get state. Let's see what happens. Okay, cool. Then we'll dispatch another increment. So we'll do store.get state payload. You guys see what's happening? Okay, let me start with this. Okay. So this is the way of importing a package into a node environment. So whenever you are using a node, you have to use a require instead of importing. Okay. Then, as like React, we will have an initial state, right? Like a state information in your class or your inside your function, right? You have initial state, right? And reducer is a function that does some actions that returns your new state. Okay. So I'll come back to this. And this, there is something called actions in Redux. So that is a function itself. Okay. That returns a plain object. So that is called action. When you say an action, action is a function that returns a plain object that tells what to do. Okay. And then, so how to create a Redux store? So there is a method which is produced by Redux called create store, right? And you have to pass your reducer. Okay. So currently I have created only one reducer. I'm passing a reducer. Then I'm adding a subscription event for the one of the method which I'm writing, that is a logger. Okay. So what I can do is I can write one more logger too. I'll write it. Okay. What I call is I call it as console log dot log. I'll say second, then I'll say store dot get state. I'll listen to this. Store dot subscribe logger 2, right? So what I'll do is I'll just run this again. You guys see what's happening?
Yeah.
So now I have created 2 subscriptions, right? One with the logger, another one with the logger 2, right? So though I'm updating only one store, right? If you see, this is my store. The my store is having an initial state as a counter 0, and there is a reducer function which takes care of my action type, whatever I'm passing by using the action. Action returns a plain object. So this I will be dispatching the action, right? Like a click event you are doing, right? It's called dispatching the action, right? So we are dispatching increment now. When you call increment method, what it does basically, this calls this one. What it does basically, that returns this object. So that will be received by the reducer. So reducer is having initial state. So in EX6, this is the way of writing an initial value.
Default values.
Default values. And then action is the second argument. Anyhow, we are passing. So by default, store information will be there with your reducer. You don't have to pass it. So whenever dispatching action, that will be taken as a second argument. So based on the second argument, you have two things. One is type and payload, right? So do you know what is this? This is a spread operator.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by this is copying? Taking a copy of the old one and applying the new changes. So this is the way of, without mutating the old object, we are passing the new things. So we are taking a copy. That's what you have to understand. We are taking a copy of old state and applying new changes and returning that as a new state variable itself. So now what will happen? Whomsoever listening to our subscription, they will be informed that there has been a change. When they inform that there has been a change, now you can understand. Now React components are listening for these things by somehow connecting, right? When someone is updating somewhere in the function or somewhere in your UI, someone is saying logged out, right? No matter what, whatever the screen you are listening to, all the screen will be informed that there is a logout has happened. They become a logout and they will be informed using a logger like that. You could imagine it's a logger, but eventually all the UI component in React will be knowing that there is a logout has happened by getting the latest state information. That means there is a state store is changed. When the store is changed, you re-render it. When you re-render it, you take the authentication and log out. Is it make sense first? Especially Sijo and Libin, you guys tell me whether this part is make sense first. So, so what you have to understand is first, Redux store can be created using a create store method. Okay.
Okay.
So inside a store, you have to pass a reducer. So reducer is what? Reducer is again a function. So that will hold your initial state maybe, or you can keep the initial state also in a different file also. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now, as I said this, let me refactor this code in another different file. Let me show that also. Redux node Joyce. Yep. So now you see, I created a file called reducer, right? Separate file,
Yeah.
reducer.js. I created a initial state. This one is the way in which we export the modules in the node related stuff. We call the export keyword, and then we attach the method or a variable we attach. Okay. So we exporting a count reducer, the same code only. Instead of increment only, now I also have a decrement also. Here you guys notice one thing, I'm not using any payload, but automatically I'm calling a +1. That's the difference. So always remember, if nothing happened, you have to listen to the existing store itself. So there should be one default. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there will be another file called actions. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll write all the action, we return an object, plain object into that. As simple as that, right? Then coming to our part, what we'll be doing, we import everything. I import a Redux, I'll import action, I'll import reducer. Then while I'm creating a store, I'll use a counter reducer. Then I'll subscribe to this by using a get state. I'll call multiple time increment. That's all it happens. Okay. So now what you have to understand is whenever you are creating a Redux based store based application, you should know a reducer and action. So when you know action is a function that returns a plain object. Okay.
Yeah.
Now imagine there is a data for a grid we are getting, right? Your grid is waiting for a data. Okay. Let's say set loading, set data, set error, 3 things, right? Right. Your reducer will have initial state as that one, right?
Okay.
Data, set loading, or let us imagine what I'm saying is there is a store for your data. Okay. I mean store for your grid. You'll say initially loading false, and you will say data, and that is an empty array, and you will say there is something called error, that is empty initially, right? Okay. So now whenever you get a data, what you'll do, you'll pass a payload, right? On the data. So imagine you are making Ajax call using a fetch or Axios or whatever the Ajax call you're using. Once you get a data, what you have to do, you have to say set data, and you have to pass your data. So what will happen? This action will be dispatched to a reducer. Reducer will be listening for that action. When it is listens, that cells set loading false, and the data it will attach, error it will be empty, right? You could relate things like that. Okay. Is it confusing? Is it confusing?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay. Confusing means let me know. But one thing you have to know is you should not mix up something in your actions. Okay. There is one more thing React does. Okay. I mean, it's a practice. That's it. Okay. So here we are writing increment keyword here, right? Instead, what we'll do is we call it as action types.js. So what we'll do is export const increment. This you will see in all the React places with the by creating different word. Okay, increment, and then there is something called export const decrement. This is just to avoid some kind of a human error. Why? Because you are writing the same thing inside your reducer, and you will be dispatching same into your multiple components, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you wanted to use in 10 components, you will be end up writing decrement, increment, right? This word I'm saying. Sometimes you may eventually do this I instead of capital, right? To avoid that kind of the errors, we create action types, and inside then we import that into our actions. Import actions action types. Oh, this won't work, right? Anyway, so this is the requires, right? Const action types equal to require. But don't confuse this. Why I'm saying in the node is this is easy to understand first. Then we call it as action types, right? When you call it as action types now, then you can use that action types dot increment. It is as easy as that. This also will be following in React also decrement. So now as action type is added, so inside your Redux here, right? Sometimes you are using this in multiple components. What you can do is you can import this action type and you can dispatch it. Since we are doing this dispatch inside this only one file, it is okay, right?
Yeah.
But when you have to use it, you have to use it. This is a practice. So as I said, Redux uses a observer-based pattern for designing your Redux applications, right? Redux have a method called create store that takes care of creating a store. Store accepts a few arguments. Firstly, I'll tell only these arguments. There are a few more arguments is there with that. I'll tell you on the go. Okay. So then it accepts the reducer. That is our store information stored inside that. If you go to the reducer, reducer will have initial state. And again, a reducer is a function that converts or changes your state without mutating by passing old state and then updating a new variables. and that returns to it, that will be listened by using a subscription pattern in your regex pattern, and that's all. You will be logged. So now UI will be automatically re-rendered. Make sense?
Yeah. So since you told that Redux can have only one store,
Mhm.
so throughout the app, so any state that we want to maintain is part of that reducer initial state, right?
I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. Yeah. So that's a good question actually. So now what happens? We have seen only one reducer, right?
Hmm.
So what happens? One second. Right. Okay, 1 second. So if you remember the diagram which I shown, that should, make you to ask this question, right?
Yeah.
So imagine this thing, we have only one reducer. It means it is only user info store. I mean user info reducer. So what about access control? What about presentation? What about section? All that, right? So, so how do you maintain this, right? So now for that to answer, Redux has come up with a concept called combined reducer. Okay. Before
Okay.
passing reducer, what you can do is you can combine n number of reducer into one reducer. Okay. So I'll show you that. Combine reducer. So if you go to Redux documentation page,
Mhm.
you have, this is the reducer one, this is the reducer two. This is the name in which you can refer the reducer. I mean a store.
Yeah. Okay.
You understood? So this will be a root reducer. What I'm saying is currently, I'll take this code and copy it for our understanding. Okay. Now imagine, okay, I'll write this. I'll write this. I'll create one more store here itself. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll create one more reducer. For that, I'll create initial state. Okay, let us do one thing. Let us create a, what we'll do. We'll create a what is this counter, right? I'll say reduces. So I'll move all this file. One move. Yes. I'll move action types. I'll move yes. I'll move actions. Okay. Yes. So now what happens? Now this one what we call as counter, right? This entire thing is part of a counter. One is counter. Move it. Or this one is always automatically update input here. Reducer. Okay, action. Yeah, action. Okay. Now this is the first picture. What we seen is user info. What you could think of, right? Now we'll create one more component called what we'll say user info, right?
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. So now what do you have to create? You have to create a reducer.js, and you have to create a action.js, and you have to create action type. Okay. Now, simply what I'll do is I don't have to write too much code, but simply what I'll do is I'll say const initial state is equal to authenticated false. I'll do it, right. Then I'll say const reducer, whatever you can say your name also, auth reducer, and that is the function that accept a two argument state and with the default value. Okay, and that is the initial state, and then there is action, that is a function anyway. I'll use the arrow function. Okay, so now see one thing also I'll add it here, since you have a mind to grasp it. You are writing if else, right? So the practice is use the switch case. That's it. So when you say action dot type, right, you will have plenty of switch cases. Case auth success, like this, right? Then there will be a default. return a state, right? And there is a break. That's okay. That's a JavaScript stuff. So anyhow, this is going to be your action types, right? If you remember,
Yeah.
this is your action type. Okay. So here also we have to return a state. State. So everywhere you have to return a state. So that's all. So we'll return.
Copy, right? You need to spread it, right?
Yeah.
We are not. I'm not modifying it. So I'm just returning a state. You
Okay.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
So only you are making a change, you can return the state. I mean, you can mutate it and do that. So here we are not doing. So then we have to call it as export, right? Export const auth reducer, because we are not dispatching anything. So now what we have done, I'm not doing any action yet, but forget it, no need to do that for now. So we created a two reducer. One is auth reducer, another one is this one, right? Now what we'll do is we'll create a one file called index.js. Okay. So what we'll do is we copied some code from the browser, right? So what we'll do, what do you call const regex. So we have to import regex. So we use a require regex. Since we reduce index, the regex is there. So what you can do is we can call this regex dot combine reducer. Okay. So now we have to import. So import, what we have to do, const, what are the reducers we need? Count reducer, we call it as is equal to require where is that count reducer? Counter reducer. Similarly, what we can do auth reducer. So we'll reduce auth, right? Is it auth I given? Right? It is a user input.
User info, yeah.
Let me try this. Okay. So now what we can do is by using a combine reducer method, what we can do is that is a user, what we call it as a, this is the, this object is the way in which you can refer it. That's it. Okay. Now what we did is we combine the reducer. So what we call it as this, we'll say const. Okay. We did this. We'll export this. Export root reducer. Export const. What is this? Okay. So then what we'll do is we'll come back to our code. We, instead of exporting these things, okay. Anyhow, we need action, right? Because we have to dispatch it. So instead of importing this, we'll import what is the index, right? So that is our reducer. Then reducer dot root reducer, right? Okay, now let's run what happens. Why I'm here. Okay, let me go to the control J and then I call it as node. Then node, sorry, clear. I'll call it as a node. And then what is the file name? Regex node.js, right? Something is happening. Just a minute. What is this? Unexpected token export const increment where action types. Why? Export const is fine only. One, they need a semicolon or what? One they added. What?
Unexpected.
Oh,
Action
okay.
types.
Oh, no. Wait. exports. Hey, this is a node, okay? You understand?
Okay. The other one, okay.
That's why. That's why it won't work. Or then few things won't work. Okay. Let us kill one by one. So this all fine. Now this one will solve that error. Now there is some error should come. Yes, the reducer, right? Index.js, right? So we'll call it as exports.root reducer. Now what is the error? Auth reducer. This is what I hate this. I shouldn't have gone for this, but anyway. Exports dot. Why now there is the error? I expect a root reducer function instead received an undefined. Okay, index.raise. Redux.combine reducer. What is that? Okay, counter to do. Export default to do's. Yeah, this is right only. One second. Const root reducer equal to combining the reducer is fine. Okay. Root dot root reducer. Yeah. Exports dot root reducer. What is that? Expected the root reducer need to be a function received plus this kind of reducer. Redux 166 formatted to be a root reducer to be function. It's a function only, right? Reducer.
Oh, no, the last one. Yeah, there.
Yeah. So they import. Okay, wants to combine reducer.
So what difference does it make? It's
One
a
second.
named export, right?
Yeah. This is a named export. I understand. This is combining. Okay. Then we are exporting to default. We don't need to do the default export. This is showing some yellow color. Root reducer, Redux dot reducer. Okay. We put a semicolon here also. I don't understand. This is something messy here. Function need to be const root reducer. They should written something here. One second. Reducer potato.
Reducer should return something, is it? I think it's not returning anything, that's why.
But it is a function, right? It takes see, it should return. Let's see, logging it. Okay, so this one. Why this is like but value never used. But why? Export dot. Okay. We don't need this export dot. I always get confused of this general.
So what was the issue? What happened?
Oh, wait. Payload data is fine.
In actually, why was it? What was the difference there?
We declared a const, then we are exporting that. We have to do it like always. You have to use the exports dot, whatever the variable we want to export. This is
You
a
can't,
node.
you can't assign it to a constant and then export it.
I don't know. I'm not much. I didn't read much about a node actually.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's working. There is something called error is coming. That's okay. We don't need a payload at all. That's why the error is coming. Okay. Okay, make sure the argument passed to combined reducer is an object. Okay, what is this? Store does not have value reducer. Make sure argument passed to combined is an object. Store does not have argument passed to a combined is an object. Those values are reducers. Combined reducers. Where in instance.js, auth reducer, counter reducer. Is it a counter reducer I do? Yeah. Both are same. This also auth reducer. I use the auth reducer. Okay. Auth reducer. Then I can call this. What they want. Make sure the argument passed is a values are.
I think you don't need to put that in an object, right? Should you put that in an object?
Yes, I have to. That's how you do it. Like this.
No, but that is not an object. It doesn't have a key value, right?
Which one? No. Combined reducer, you can pass a function. Actually, reducer is a function, right? You can pass. This is the identifier for that. This key is identifier. So
Yeah.
imagine you have these many store, right? So when you're using a store.getState, eventually you have a single store, you don't have a problem. GetState will get a new counter, right? But imagine you have a user info, access control, everything, right? You shouldn't need a way identifier to access the user info, access control, and all that, right? So on that time, what happened is instead of using store.getData, what you'll use is store. What is the name we are given? Store. Oh God, 1 second. Store. Let me. I'll put it in the start name. Okay. Everything this IntelliSense is working. Regard. Let's talk about store. Dot. We call it as auth. Dot is authenticated like that. You understood? Then we'll use CSDAD is your state. You could imagine. Then you call it as counter dot counter value, something like that. So this center part, what you see in the dot is right. It's just an identifier for each of your state. So then you can easily access that in your React applications. That's why. That's why you are passing in an object. Then you have something called counter. Okay, combine reducer. This is fine. Make sure argument pass to values. What is this? Let me see. What is this? Retex store does not have a value reducer. Okay. Field reducer. Root reducer. Okay. Export default. I hope that's what we did now. What is a command?
What did you use? You didn't use it. You did exports.root reducer, right?
But still, that's fine. So that exports only. See, that's what the default way of doing in this one. In Node, okay, that's the default way of doing. Okay, now why I don't want to do it in the React is I want to develop something. So okay, now let us take some React application. We right away check out some React applications. Okay, so we'll talk about something in a slide. Let us talk about something. The concept is same. What I said. You create a multiple reducer. You use a combined reducer and then pass the combined reducer into your create store method in the Redux. So then you can access it anywhere using store name dot complete reducer name, right? That a keyword what we are passing. Auth means auth, right? With that you can access it. So we'll cover whatever we've seen so far. We created a folder, we created an init, and we installed the Redux, and then we created a file, and then we added this initial state, added a reducer, created a store, and added a subscription, dispatched an option, and listen for a changes, right? Okay, so this is another example. If you are interested, you can have a look at it. Okay, so this is action create is what we call check-in, check-out. Okay, so whenever they check in, what they're doing is they're creating a new dog or whatever, like you see, right? It's another class or a function, and then there is there is an initial state. This is a reducer, right? Reducer is as a action got type. There's a type, right? And they're returning. They are returning non-mutated state. If you guys see, right? And then so they created a store using create store, and whenever they're logging the state value once the store is created, they're having a subscription whenever they added that. So that's all. Okay, so this is what we have done, but someone has done something different, but the core concept remains the same everywhere. So this is also something what we have done. Okay, if you want, you can have a look at it. Okay, so let me take you to the another place how to create in this. So now we able to understand what is this, right? Create a Redux store, subscribe to events, inside the subscription callback, get the current store rate, extract the data by this piece of UI, blah blah blah. This I'll tell you. Okay, this may not be complete and clear. Okay, okay, cool. React fundamentals and all that. So I'll go to the React app. Before that, let's talk about some terms. Okay. So we know what is the Redux now. Redux is a state management library. So that will have a single store, right? And then store is created using create store. Create store will accept a reducer as an argument. Reducer is a function, right? That returns some switch cases to handle the type of a reducer. And then the store creation and all that what we've seen, that's what you see it in the documentation also, right? And one thing you have to know is it is a unidirectional flow. Okay, I mean, once you dispatch an action, a store will get updated, post which UI will get updated. That's what we know, right? So there is no stopper in between, right? Even the state management also works that way. But there is a question, if you get it, let me know. There is a one answer is, see, one question is unattended now. I'll tell you that. Okay. So similarly, whenever they're clicking a button, they're dispatching an event by type and all that, that's we know. So this is the data flow what we've seen when the event is invoked and all that happens, right? So this is,
if a change is done in the UI, does it update the state?
yeah, that's what we did, right? See that the dispatch, whatever I shown is right. This dispatch in the
Other way, if I change this, is it it's not bidirectional, right?
it's not a bidirectional. It's a unidirectional. It's a one-way flow. You dispatch an action, store gets updated, UI will be intimated.
All the UI.
Yes.
So if the UI gets updated, it won't change the store. The other
No,
way.
how it will be? See, imagine your UI is listening for your state or prop change, right?
Yeah.
And that is getting invoked by a state change. State change is handled by your Redux. So then it is a cycle only. UI is triggering an action to change the state. Stories get updated. That is get informed to the UI. So that means counter is started from 0 and become a 1. You change the value to 1. That's it. You have to think like clock, and the clock starting is, you could say, UI. See, that's what is a one-way data flow, right? View, action, state, state, view, action, action, state, view. It's like that. But eventually, UI will trigger the action because user triggers an action, right? Adding a product to a cart, so that cart count will be updated.
Bidirectional means a state also can trigger an action, right? So that is not possible in Redux, is what you're saying.
Yes. There is no bidirectional.
To achieve that data binding, two-way binding.
Two-way binding, that's the question is unattended. I did not get a time to go through. I'll just see that. Okay. And if you remember one thing, state should not be mutated. So you have to take a copy of old state and append the new state using a spread operator. So that is the standard. So now we all know some.
Why should we not mutate the original one? Is that being referred anywhere else?
State mutation is not. If you do that also, I don't think so. You will lose the old one, right? I'll tell you what. I think this one I did not cover. Maybe why? Because sometimes what happens, imagine you could say you are, let me go to, this is I'm writing for some reading purpose, okay? What happens if you see the screen now, you have initial state with the loading data and error, right? we remember like updating, sometimes we'll be updating like only loading, right? If you do that, right, imagine this is the one. Instead of doing this, we'll say return counter plus one. How do you do that? I mean what happens, I'll tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is, whenever you are trying to do without without mutating stuff, is you eventually fail to lose one variable, one key.
Okay,
There's
that
a
means so it only says, for example, if I update, let's say there is a grid, I'm loading the data multiple times.
yes.
Okay, so it will only make a copy of the previous one, not it won't maintain the history, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So it will only maintain the previous object. That's it, just to make sure that copying is proper. Because
Yes,
if it is maintaining all the history, then it's going to be horrible in perform. Because every time your state is updated, if you want to make a copy of the state, if I update the UR 10 or 15 times, then so many objects is created and stored, right? Like memory consumption
yes,
will be.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
it will
That's
only create only one object and then copy of it, right? That's it.
yes, yes, yes. So this data also you could say, you will have a key to render, right? You remember the performance thing. You pass a key to your row, so based on that only UI also get re-rendered.
So that means once you make once you mutate the current object, you make a copy. The
Yes,
original copy will be replaced by the new copy, right?
yes. That means when you're using a spread operator, spread operator, it copies the old object and key pair values. On top of it, whatever the new, sorry.
And it will copy the object, make the modification, and it will replace the original one with the new one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So why I'm saying, why actually the purpose what I was trying to tell you is, there is high chances that you may lose the data itself. You may use the entry of the error itself. So it is a practice required. You have to copy the old one and update only the new one. So you often see in a Redux applications using a spread operator to copy the old one and updating the new one. Even that you should be, everyone have to practice that one only if it is really using that, right? So that's the one thing. So now coming back to the documentation, I'll go through few terms because we understood what is that. We know action is actually a function that returns a plain object, right? You can say this is an action also, but sometimes instead of returning this, we sometimes call a function. The function will return the action. And we know what is a reducer. Reducer is a function that has a current state and an action as an input. So that returns a new state according to the changes and the action you invoke, right? And the store, we know store is a global one, so that retains all the information. And we know what is a dispatch. Dispatch is an action that we are invoking from a UI. So that triggers an action. Action triggers the reducer. Reducer changes the state, and state change will be listened by an UI. Okay. And there are some core principles. One is a single source of truth. That means you should maintain the global state of your application called store. Store should be read only. That's what we are not changing. So we are taking a copy and mutating. I mean, immutably we are changing. We are not changing the old one, right? So changes are made available with a pure reducer function. So that's what writing.
Praveen, so when you say state is read only, that means it is create multiple copies, right? So that we need to find out. We need to find out how it is happening. See, if you are
Uh,
creating multiple copies, then definitely in the case what I told you, for example, if I'm creating a lot of data, if you create multiple copies, that will be an issue at some point. So this one we need some clarity. Why it cannot be read only? Why is it read only? Then how is it updating the state if it is only read only?
uh, okay.
Only way to change the state is to dispatch an action, an object that describes what happened. Okay, and this way the UI won't accidentally override data, and it's easier to trace why a state update happened. Since actions are plain objects, they can be logged, serialized, stored, and later replayed for debugging or testing purposes. So we need some clarity on this. What
Okay.
exactly happens when you say copy and update?
Okay. I'll just get that. Okay, so that's said that, and we know what is project setup and all is fine, defining and all that and all that. This is fine. Okay, okay. I'll come back to Redux store, get dispatch and also. Okay, okay. Now that's fine. So as we said, so let me. Okay. Now so far, so now what we have seen is we use a node environment to create a Redux and then dispatching an action subscription and all that, right? We haven't implemented that in our
React.
Redux React, right?
Mm.
So there is a library which is already there. If you want to check out, I'll do that. Okay. So you see there is a one action they created, right?
Mhm.
So that is action type. So that they declared as a cake type. That's what we did currently, right? They can exporting and doing, and then they creating a reducer with the initial state, right? Initial is number of cake is 10. Then whenever they're importing a buy cakes, what they're doing, so they're taking this and they're reducing number of cake and then doing the minus and returning the new number of cake. By default, they're returning a state. So that makes sense. Makes sense?
Yeah.
And then there is action, again a function. By default, they're sending a one number, right? Or else you can send the argument. Makes sense, right? So likewise, they create a multiple store. So this, I mean, so multiple reducers, you could say, right? And then they use a combined reducer by passing this. You see, they're importing combined reducer from Redux and reducer 1, reducer 2, reducer 3, and then default they exported. And then what they're doing, the index.js. Okay, all the actions they're importing for no reasons. Okay, then in the store, what we do, we use the create store method from the Redux. I'll tell you what is a middleware, and I'll tell you what is a comport with the DevTools also. The logger and Thunk-Control, I'll tell you. We just think about only create store currently. So we're
Right.
importing a root store, right? And then we are passing a root store. That's what I said. Create store will have a few more arguments, right?
Okay.
So I'll talk about it. So currently we talk about only the root reducer. The store is getting exported, right? Till that is clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then in app.js, we have to use a store, right?
Hmm.
Right. So again, we'll come to the concept called provider and consumer, right? In a context, we have a provider and a consumer, right? So similarly, Redux provide you a provider.
Oh, okay.
In the provider, you pass a store. So now whatever the components or child components wrapped inside the provider will have access to the store information.
So everything that is put under provider will become the subscriber.
Subscribers. I mean, they won't be a subscriber until you subscribe. That's what the point you have to remember.
Be available for subscription.
They will be available. They'll be available for subscription, you could say.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So now, so there is a user container. If you go to the user container, till that is clear first, you just tell me.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what we have done, we created a reducers and we created a store and we added a provider and we passed the store reference to that, right? So the store is wrapped using the users container. Okay, user container is again React functional based component, right? That uses the use effect, that uses the connect, and there is something they have. What is this fetch uses? Yeah, something they have demo purpose. I'll come back to that. Okay, so there is some user data as a property we are passing, some fetch users we are passing as a properties. Okay, you understood, right? This is a destructuring, object destructuring. Okay, there is a key called user data, there is a key called fetch user. That's why we are using this object based representation. Or else you have to use like a props.user data, props.fetch users. You understood? Clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we come to the part connecting your Redux store with your React. Okay, so for that we use a HOC called connect. Okay, HOC is a higher order component. We know what is higher order component. Higher order component receives a component as an input. It's a function first of all that adds some sort of functionality on top of your component, then returns a new component.
Yeah.
Cool, right?
Yes.
Okay, so connect will have a two argument. This is a not a standard name, but is a practice. Okay. Map state to props, map dispatch to props. Okay. Okay. Before going to the detail, so we have to understand certain things. Okay. The word map state to props, what it is saying, map the state from your Redux to property to your React component. Is it make sense, the word?
Yeah.
Map a state from your Redux store and map it to props as in your React UI. So when you take the store, I told you we create a combined store with a key called user, right? You remember that, right? So state can have multiple reducers. The multiple reducer will be retrieved using this. So if you want to understand what I was saying, when you go to the root reducer, there is a keyword called user here, right? Object. State.user, when you use it, you'll use the use reducer. What is a use reducer? Use reducer will have an initial state as what? Something, right? There is initial state, loading, error, false. So when you use the state.user, you have access to user state, and you can mutate a user state and all that, right? Okay, that's the first thing you have to understand. Whenever we are using map state to props, what it does, it takes your state from your Redux and map it to props as a property. I mean, it is a prop to your UI. Okay. Let me come back to the component. That is a user component, right? Yeah. So now, if you are using user data in your code as a function, so what you'll have access to?
Isn't it?
User store. Am I right?
Yeah.
Cool. And then there is something called map dispatch to props. This is the second argument. Sorry.
Yeah, second is, yeah, tell me.
So you should return something, okay, in your map state to props. It's a function, you return something. The return thing will be a property to your component. So that's why you are passing user data as a property. So when you use a user data, what you eventually have access to? You have access to store information in your Redux to your user container component. Am I right? So you can use user data loading, user data.error, and you can set the user data. Cool, right? Is it clear first?
Yeah.
So that is why you can connect your state, I mean, the Redux store with a UI. That's the first one. So you will have a word called map state to props. Okay. Now come to another part, how I can dispatch an action whenever the UI press the counter button, right? So for that, there is a second argument in your connect method that is called map dispatch to props. So once you started using Redux into your application, everything will become your properties, not your state, not your methods. So from your Redux reducer actions, you will be dispatching some action. You remember store.dispatch, what we do? So this fetch actions, what it does basically, if you see, let us take it here. So this is a fetch user. Fetch users, it does what? It takes the dispatch as an argument. That's what we are returning, right? Then it dispatches fetch users, then finally fetch user success, something. You will come to know that later, right? See, whenever you started fetch users, you are calling user request. Okay. This is action. You see, only we are dispatching action, you see, and sometimes you are dispatching a payload. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, whenever we are, see, let me go back to that. I think this will be little confusing. Watch it very carefully. Okay, state to props is fine.
Yeah.
You can map any state variable into your component. So that means you can have 100 reducer and you can use all the 100 into your component. Okay, that's created. And now we want to handle the events, right? Whenever user is clicked and user is added, add the new data to the store. So that means what Redux tells us, you dispatch action. You do anything but dispatch an action, right? So when you dispatch action, what you have to do? You have to return a single object only, right? I mean, again, you have to call a function. That function should return an object. I mean, a plain object, right? Like this. Am I right?
Yeah.
But now the question comes, there is something called Axios here. So this is the asynchronous process. Am I right?
Right.
But now tell me, will that state will wait till you do this? It is instant, right? So far what we see, whenever you call a state update through an action and you dispatch an action, it immediately get updated, right? But so far, so now, we never seen a concept called asynchronous activity, like a set timeout, or like, let's say I don't want to update my counter for 10 minutes.
Okay, so this is dispatch is like a promise, is it?
No. Dispatch is just same only. I'll come back to that. Promise also we are going to cover. That's what we are talking about. So now what happens is Redux out of the box does not provide a thing called this one. What we are talking, asynchronous activity. Okay. So to do that, there is another library called Thunk. Okay. If you remember, whenever I was saying there is another argument, we'll talk about it in the create store, right? You remember this? We seen this one only, right? There is another argument called apply middle. Yeah, we seen create store with only one argument so far, but immediately we are seeing other argument. Okay. I'll start from here. Okay. So now before that, we'll talk about what is actually combined reduce create store accepts. Create store accepts with three arguments. One is a reducer we are passing. Another one is preloaded state. Imagine we have an initial state, right? In a reducer. So you can create a store, comma, you can pass a preloaded state variable, and then you pass a enhancer. So now the question comes, since we are handling this in the reducer itself, it is not a practice maybe. We are not passing a store as a second argument, okay? So there is something called enhancer. So the word enhancer says what? Imagine I want something happened in between my process. Let's say 10 counter is incremented, suddenly something has happened. How do you debug this? Right? It's like a time travel. How do you time travel to first counter, second counter, third counter, right? Or you want to log that, right? So you know what is a middleware, right? Middleware is act between your state update and your UI. Okay. So in order to do that, there is an argument in our code. What you can do is you can use the second argument with the apply middleware. So with the middleware, you can pass the n number of middleware. Okay. Now come the question, what is a middleware? Right. Okay. Let's talk about one middleware, what it does basically. There is something understanding, latest understanding Redux. Where is the middleware? Yeah. They don't have middleware. Let's say logger, custom logging. Okay, so so far what we seen, we dispatch an action. Okay, that action is a single piece of object that update the state, right? So what Thunk or middleware do is, instead of returning an object, it returns a function.
Okay.
Okay. So that function will be executed with the same payload, or maybe add a changed payload, and then store will get updated.
Okay.
Does it make sense? So that is what your Thunk is going to do. So now with this concept, what you can do, since you are not returning an object, okay, I mean, your dispatch is not complete. You are not executed that action at all. So you are receiving that into another function. That other function does some asynchronous activity. Later on, that calls with the payload and the call the action. Then your state will get updated.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
State will not update until the function gets.
I mean, you are not transferred your things to your store yet, right? You are bypassing it till you are holding the reference in between, because you are not returning an object, right? So when you return an object, that's what it does. Since you are returning a function, you are expecting that function to execute, right, at one point in time. So when you execute that, you have a reference to your action, and with action is having a method and payload and all that, and you can modify and do everything. Okay. So now the question comes, middleware, the purpose of the you see what they're doing, right? Here, they're creating a store. There is a to-do reducer, right? They're passing a default value, and then they're applying a middleware. So now what we'll basically do is whenever you are doing this, it will keep logging this. Then it executes with a new payload.
Okay.
You understood, right? Okay, so then now there are few things. Okay, to do that, there is a thing called thunk. Thunk takes care of or handling this asynchronous process. So in order to handle your Ajax call and a state update, you have to use a thunk. Okay, even this fellow also uses a thunk only. So that is why he uses a thunk and uses a logger. So you can pass n number of middleware. Okay, now I'll come back to the middleware need for us. Okay, let's say IGO we are not going to implement in future, but I tell you our need. Okay, remember we have a custom JSON, right? We are getting a custom JSON, but we cannot simply post the custom JSON, right? Anyhow, that is Ajax call again. So we have to do some sort of processing on a custom JSON before we're updating a store, right? That time you need a middleware. So you write a function, you take the data, you modify it, then you post the data and you update it.
Like just like a transform function, right?
Yes, it's a transform function, or you say some sort of enhancer, anything you can call it. And now we solved what is this thing and what is this thing and all that, and also we told about what is apply middleware, but we didn't tell about what is compose with the dev tool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you what is this going to do for us. All the React developers will have this plugin called Redux, right? You see what's happening? These are your, what do you think about this? Now tell me what you've seen so many things so far, right? This application is developed not using a React. I don't know why. Okay, this is something users said. Let me take you to the Flipkart, whether they exposed it, I don't know. Not a Flipkart, Bootstrap. Bootstrap or Material UI, I'll take. Let's take all that they have this component Redux app in background. Jump.
Okay, these are the state, I think.
These are your state update. These are your action. These are your action types.
Here it is. Okay.
You can jump between any times.
Uh-huh.
For example, you are getting a data. You have to see whether loading is happening. Okay, go to that state, set loading, and see the load mask, and then skip this and don't handle this. Then go to the another step, final success. Jump to this. So you can do the timeline. So you can play with it. So that is why we are using that compose with the dev tool.
Okay.
Okay. So when you use the compose with the dev tool, you have access to that. And yeah, so.
But also, if you use this code, it will become part of your production code, right? If you don't use that, it will not be available.
Yeah, there is a way you can get rid of this. Yes, there is a way you can suppress it and enable it and all that. You can do that.
So go to the previous topic, like so. You said you are mapping state to the props, right? So how do you do that for the class-based components?
Again, the same only. There is no
Same.
fundamental. See, the difference is that instead of props, you use a this dot props, right?
Okay, instead of you can, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Only the keyword matters. That's it. So this is what I said. Do you see any problem? How to handle asynchronous, that where the middleware receives an action and all that. So there are two common middleware we use. One is a Thunk, another one is Saga. But Saga I never used it. I don't know what is Saga also. It does the same thing. Saga also. Yep. So this is overall idea and about the Redux and the Thunk and store and all that. So I think yeah. So at the state why we have to meet it, I'll get back with a clear-cut answer and all that, right? So yeah. So any questions?
So how do you once you add something to a state,
Okay.
how to destroy it if it, once the requirement is over?
Okay.
How do you remove the items from the?
No,
For
no,
example,
come again.
one, see, for example, I'm having a state.
Mm-hmm.
Say I need a grid. A data is coming from a state.
Okay.
At some point, I delete the grid. The grid is no longer needed.
Okay.
So how do I delete the data from the state? Is this direct JavaScript option or?
No, no, no. That will be there. I mean, see, a global store will retain the data no matter what. It is you have to consume. It's okay.
Yeah.
In that case, you don't need to maintain that in the global store.
No, if there is a requirement where it has to maintain, and later I don't want to use it. I want to delete it.
Yeah, deleted, you can set it to empty. You can pass a empty payload and you set it.
It'll get removed.
Yes. See, payload and the action what you invoke will be, it does according to that. See,
Okay.
everything what we do in EXT is the same. Okay, just that React maintains in a different way. See, there has been a change. Okay, you could say there has been a change. Something removed, something added. So if your concern is I don't want to maintain a 1 million of data in my store, yeah, just set it to empty array. Pass the empty array as a payload.
Okay, that basic it back. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. But Tunk, you have to use it first. So then only you will get eventually the idea behind the scenes,
Answered, yeah.
right?
What
So
you said is
maybe,
the right example. Custom JSON will get the data, pre-process it, and then load. That pre-processing will happen in Thunk.
yeah. Or else you could say you have whenever user is trying to access some page, right? You will be sending the 401, 403 unauthorized, right? Okay. That you don't want to check in the UI. Eventually, you want to check in the middleware. When you check in the middleware, you dispatch a logout action. Then user will be logged out. You could say. So there are cases. Okay, there are cases. There are plenty of cases you could think what to do and when to do and all that. Yeah, there are situations. So when see this is only about this is all about the React. Okay, React has nothing to do with much of it. Okay. So if you are really interested in building a React based application, I will maybe you can start with building a Material UI based some things.
So is this the theme which is being used widely?
No, no, no. You can customize this theme also. See, imagine we created a button component, right? And here you can use the button itself. You can import the button component from Material UI and you can use it.
Right, okay.
So majority of the companies, I mean, let's say 50-50, they use this component and customize their need. I mean, you can change the button colors and all that. You have a flexibility to do that.
Material is from Google only, right?
No, no, no. Material is not from the Google. I don't know. I never seen it.
About us.
Sorry, sorry.
Go to the about page. About us.
See, Fluent way is from Google, I think. But Fluent way, see, there are so many components. Okay, we never know. There is something called Fluent design. Okay. Uh, this Fluent AI is, our this one, right? DS tools and all using, right? The plugins. We can design a plugins by from the JavaScript itself using the Fluent AI for the Excel. And there are something called other day I've seen one guy with the experience called Google Polymer. Okay, you heard about this? I never heard about it.
Yeah, Polymer is an old one. It's been
Yeah,
there since.
someone said they use as a polymer. That is similar to your React only again, but the way
Yeah.
they supplied it, there's something different. Okay. Yeah, so there are plenty. Yeah, that differs. Even the Vue and the Angular differs in a way that here we are creating a component as a JSX and all that we are doing, right? Where what you'll do is for a one component, you create a template as a HTML separate file, CSS a separate file, JS a separate file. So in this folder itself, you have HTML, CSS, and JS.
Yeah.
That will interlinked.
Right.
But I haven't worked on that. Maybe Dinesh is working on the Angular part. He might be aware of it. So yeah, so that's all. So
You are working on TypeScript or the older
no.
Angular?
I'm not working on a TypeScript. I'm just working on the other one.
No, no, Dinesh.
Dinesh, see, Angular is a TypeScript only. There is no way you can escape out of the Angular.
No, no, I mean, the older version, the initial version was in JS only. I don't know if some of the projects are still in older one, I think.
Maybe eStudy is working in a new project, so vice versa, it should be in the latest.
And it should be TypeScript.
Yeah, so there is one interview page. I'll share it with all of you. Okay. So that is, you see, what are the areas we did not cover? We'll think about it covering. Okay. So there are two entries. One is a regex. Okay. Now by this you will be knowing what is action, what is a connect, what is a provider, what is a reducer, what is a thunk, what is a store, what is action payload, apply middleware. This I did not cover, but I haven't used it. What is a combine reducer? The compose we seen right now. Apply middleware by composing that, and then create store and the dispatching and all that, map state to props, map dispatch to props, the logger what I shown you, right? Writing the logger and all that. So that's all about the regex. Maybe one or other row I might missed, but we covered few more things. Okay. Hooks is a separate topic. We'll try to cover in upcoming weeks. Okay. The testing is another one. If you want, I'll cover the style component. Style component very rarely being used, but I'll try to have the session on that. Okay. And we know what is a refs, right? Creating a class, HOCs, fragment, you remember, right? That empty things. And we know what dispatch, what is the virtual DOM, or what is the control API. I'll take this session, controlled and uncontrolled. See, and then the most of the things what we have to know is like ECMA 6, ES6 related concept, structuring, I mean destructuring, rest operator, spread operator, right? I don't know. We change our CMD.
Not yet. We are actually trying to do that.
Yeah, please try to change the CMD so you have a lot of convenience,
Yeah.
right?
You have done
So
that already. It has to go to production. Abhilash
yeah,
has done.
yeah. So that is a very basic thing we have to do, so that people start writing code in EX6, in EX7 and all. We should use it because browser is evolving, data are exchange evolving and all that. So we should use it because we're still writing a function and all that. We are not using anything, right? So that's the one thing. Yeah, so this one maybe it's a good place where you can refer and all that. I'll send it this.
Send it in the.
I'll send it in the group. So
Next week, what are you planning?
sorry.
Next week, what are we planning?
Let's see. I'll just thinking some concept. I think hooks is the concept is there. Hooks are like, you know, like here in class it is not there and this is not there, like that. Yeah, let's see how hooks is. If it is interesting, we'll cover the hooks.
Okay.
Okay, but there is nothing other than this in React.
So,
Now it's all about your thought process. See, like I said, you can start building a React application by borrowing the material UI and building the nav bar. Nothing you have to create on your custom on your own. See, you have a toggle buttons. You have a, you know,
so the things are there. Okay.
most of things are there. The ultimate thing is table is super complex in React. When
Yeah. So
FH,
other thing is that one thing is using the third-party libraries, right? For
yeah,
example, that is one topic which you need to
yes, yes,
installation and all those things, right? Yeah.
yeah. So just play with this material UI. There are a few components and design. Okay, this is also another one. Okay, so this also you can create a component and all that. This also out of the box have all the components. If you see, you have typography, buttons, layouts, grids, and all that. The things, and there is other one I could say material UI, and there is something called React Bootstrap. So that is also there. With this also you can create a UIs, accordion, and all that. This one, right? Breadcrumbs and everything. So this also there. So it's your choice. Start building an application, start exploring the React and using the Redux context API and everything. But
Yeah.
majority of things are there. out of the box. So there is only a majority of the company what they are doing as so far I've seen in the interviews and I've seen in my company, only two set of companies. One, they take this material UI, okay, they changes the theme according to their need, the font size and everything, because material UI provides a way to do that, okay. So that's another one. Another companies what they do is they design their own components library as a common library. So these buttons and all that they develop in common and they'll use it in their applications. That is a two set of companies I heard and seen so far.
Okay.
Okay. And also there is something called Figma. Also we have to know, but we are not using it. So, but anyway, that maybe some UX people will come. So this also we have to know in future.
Figma we are using for some time for creating wireframes.
Yeah, Figma, but Pointers is not using anything. UX designer is not there, right? So we are not using there. Okay, there is Adobe XD for that. See, one simple thing I'll tell you for all of us. Whenever you are planning to create any application, you can use the draw.io, which is free. Okay, you can decide your UI with this. Okay, this is the one I designed using this draw.io to decide the COVID tracker.
Okay.
So it is give you a visual thing. You want a table here, you want a one chart here, you want one map here, and you want some title here and all that. And you have some sort of a cards here, and the card will display something and all that, right? So that you can do. So you have a lot of, and you can create a flow charts and everything. So all this.
Draw.io, right? Okay.
Draw.io. I'll just send you this.
Figma is, I think, paid version. I think. Figma is paid.
Yeah. Figma is that. Figma is that.
But that is, I think, like most of the industry people use Figma these days.
Yeah. And there is one more place I'll tell you. Whenever we are writing a code, whenever in something, so there is a code sandbox, right? All we seen, right? Try to use a code sandbox if you're not ready to save your data into your local. What you can with the code sandbox you do is you can use a code sandbox.io. You can import your GitHub library here and write your code and save it back. Okay. So there is a few shortcuts also there. If you use the js.new, it will open the vanilla JS template like this. If you use the react.new, it uses a React based template out of the box to start with. So then you can use a vue.new, anything you can use, but not everything is available. I think I've seen Vue, I've seen React.new, I've seen the JS.new, I've seen Angular, I never seen Angular.new. I try. I don't know whether it works. I don't know. Angular was not working. So this also one of the tool you can use it. Okay, so we can stop recording. So any doubts, please post it to me. Dinesh joined in between. I don't know what Dinesh has covered.
I'll share the recording.
Yeah, your recording needs to be available to the public so that only people, or else you have to share the individual video to the individual users. I mean, you have to share